Good evening, everybody, and welcome to what's shaping up to be one of the most complex winter storm forecasts we've tackled in recent memory. We're here to give you all the new information from the afternoon and evening model runs, and I've got to tell you, there have been some massive changes, especially for the eastern United States. We're going to discuss the central U.S. first, then we'll move over to the eastern U.S., and then we're going to geek out a little bit and talk about what's changed, why it's changed, and what the atmospheric dynamics are telling us about where this storm is headed. My name's on the forecast, and we're going to walk through this together step by step. Let's start with the central U.S. and talk about the watches that are now in effect. They have significantly expanded the winter storm watches across a huge swath of the country. Anywhere you see this teal color on the map, if your county or parish in Louisiana falls within this zone, you have a winter storm watch active right now. Once you get down towards San Antonio, these transition into extreme cold watches, and you'll see some overlapping of extreme cold watches and winter storm watches in certain areas. But the core winter storm watches extend all the way into the eastern U.S., which we'll discuss in detail shortly. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now let's move on. We're talking about Nashville, Huntsville, Florence in Alabama, extending all the way over and down to Jackson, Mississippi. Memphis and Little Rock are included. The entire state of Arkansas is under the gun. A good chunk of the southern half of Missouri, extending up into areas of southern Illinois now. All of Kentucky. Pretty much all of Oklahoma except a couple counties, significant portions of southern Kansas, and a large area of the massive state of Texas, obviously including the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area. It's game on, folks. This storm is on the way and the watches are posted. Let's move forward and examine the latest European model data, because we have fresh information that's just come in. Starting with Friday evening on the 23rd, the blue represents snow, pink is freezing rain, and any orange you see is sleet. We're beginning to see our winter storm breaking out across Oklahoma Friday evening. Freezing rain is starting to expand down into northern areas of Texas, extending all the way back into the high plains of Texas. Snow is expanding all the way up into Kansas City. This is showing all snow for northern areas of Missouri, the Ozarks of northern Arkansas and southern Missouri. And we've got freezing rain moving into the Little Rock area. Essentially, the entire state of Arkansas is getting cut in half by precipitation type. As we move into Saturday afternoon, we're looking at an ice storm based on what the European model is depicting, and different models are showing different scenarios, moving into Memphis and the northern areas of Mississippi. This is all freezing rain across northern areas of Texas, all freezing rain in southern areas of Oklahoma, but it's a legitimate snowstorm in northern areas of Oklahoma and the panhandle of Texas. We've got winter weather extending back into New Mexico as well. How far north does the precipitation reach up into Kansas and Missouri? The model does show banding of heavy to moderate snow penetrating into these areas. We continue moving forward into the middle of Saturday night going into Sunday. Right in the heart of the night, we've got an all-out ice storm ongoing in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, northern areas of Texas, southern areas of Oklahoma. Now, this is just one model run, and I want to be clear about something. We are forecasting a winter storm. I know I say this repeatedly, but we are still trying to iron out the critical details with this system. We've just had massive changes in the guidance, especially for the eastern United States. Some freezing rain does try to transition into snow in southern areas of Oklahoma, but it's just a raging ice storm across northern areas of Louisiana and a good chunk of Arkansas. Areas are hanging on to snow for dear life up in northern Arkansas. I do think along the northern fringe of that pink zone you're seeing, that could actually be sleet. Someone could get saved by receiving a significant amount of sleet instead of freezing rain. Remember, freezing rain is what causes the catastrophic ice storm scenario. It literally looks like rain when you walk outside, but the air temperature is below 32 degrees, so it's freezing on contact at the surface. Sleet is those little ice pellets like tiny BBs. And snow, hopefully everybody understands what snow is. You've got an ice storm progressing through the Arklatex region, and Shreveport is getting hammered. Still showing freezing rain Sunday morning in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and then it tries to transition into some snow at the very end as this system heads out Sunday evening. The GFS model shows a different scenario. and it's somewhat of an outlier, though one could argue the European is a bit of an outlier too. I'm essentially showing you two of the extremes here. The GFS depicts this as a flatter, longer duration event beginning Friday afternoon, I'd say midday Friday, across the south-central United States. As we progress through the timeline, you're going to see considerably more orange on your screen with the GFS. I think the GFS is doing a better job of illustrating that there's going to be substantial sleet accumulation. I'm not certain it's going to be as much sleet as the GFS is printing out, though. By Saturday morning, it's showing an all-out winter storm across northern Texas with freezing rain all the way down to central Texas. What's remarkable is that it keeps southern areas of Texas as all rain even where winter storm watches are in place. It does try to flip to some freezing rain at the very end on Sunday, but this tells me the National Weather Service may not be fully buying the European solution. The European model is historically one of our best models. It's the king, in my opinion, but I don't want to get too sidetracked here. Saturday afternoon on the GFS continues to show the winter storm raging across northern areas of Texas and central Texas. It's showing a drier scenario up in Oklahoma and Kansas compared to the Euro. It's more of a mix of sleet and snow in Arkansas compared to the European, which really wants to show an all-out freezing rain event. It's depicting a major ice storm in northern Louisiana and northern areas of Mississippi with a lot of sleet in Memphis and Little Rock. Now let's shift to the eastern United States. Winter storm watches in this teal color have expanded across all of Tennessee, extending all the way down to northern Alabama, stopping just north of Birmingham. Northern Georgia is included. They don't extend to Atlanta yet. They reach all the way into the Greenville-Spartanburg area and the upstate of South Carolina, Rock Hill, Charlotte, the Piedmont, and they extend all the way to just east of Raleigh, over to Lynchburg, Virginia, all of Western Virginia, covering a big chunk of West Virginia, including Charleston, reaching all the way up to Cincinnati and the entire state of Kentucky. There are two things I'm confident will change. First, I'm really confident we're going to wake up to more widespread winter storm watches across the DC corridor. The second thing I'm slightly less confident about, but still watching closely, is this Interstate 20 corridor up to Interstate 95. I think this is a fascinating area that's not being discussed as much because everybody is focusing so intensely on the snow potential. The big question is whether we're going to see winter storm watches extended into these regions. This is kind of where I live, here in Columbia, South Carolina, and there are two critical questions. Are you going to get an all-out ice storm in this area? And two, some scenarios are showing the precipitation to be so amplified that it might actually overrun this area and you might stay drier even if you are cold enough. I'm watching to see if they issue winter storm watches across this region. Let's look at the new guidance we have. We have the fresh 18Z run, so if you're just tuning in, blue is snow, pink is freezing rain, any orange you see is sleet. We start Saturday morning and continue moving through the timeline. As we get into Saturday evening, even in Tennessee, it doesn't really start off as snow. It's straight sleet and freezing rain right from the beginning. It's all snow up into Kentucky, the southern half of Indiana and Illinois. It's kind of unusual, actually. It shows some freezing rain trying to build in. It's actually later with this run, which is a bit odd. Well, it's not odd meteorologically. This is the way it can happen. But it's almost like the moisture fills in gradually. You'll see it happen. Then boom. You see how it fills in? This is late, right in the middle of Saturday night coming up, and you've got this axis of very heavy snow in southern areas of Illinois, Indiana, getting into Ohio, northern Kentucky, and now even Kentucky is getting substantial freezing rain. On this output from the European model, it would just be a straight freezing rain event for many areas. I'm not sure I buy that completely. You've got freezing rain kind of oozing down into northeast Georgia and South Carolina. You might be wondering why Alabama is just getting rain. It's because the Euro is consistently showing low-pressure plowing right up the Tennessee Valley, which brings a lot of warm air to the surface and aloft. You continue moving forward and it's just a raging ice storm for the Appalachian Mountains, northern Georgia, the upstate of South Carolina. It begins to dry slot the eastern areas of the Carolinas. There's your low pressure popping offshore. You're not getting hardly any moisture into central Georgia. Then you've got a huge winter storm riding up the Appalachian Mountains. Suddenly you've got an Appalachian runner. It's a full-fledged cutting low pressure, creating this huge front-end thumping of snow into the DC area, the Philadelphia region, and all the way up into New York City. Even those areas start getting freezing rain initially. It hangs on to freezing rain tenaciously all the way into northeast Georgia, the upstate of South Carolina, and into Charlotte. This wouldn't bring any snow for the Carolinas on this solution. It would snow briefly at onset in Virginia. Look at this massive warm nose surging right up into eastern Tennessee, all the way up into eastern Kentucky and southwest Virginia. The cold air tries to catch up on the backside. It's a very classic Miller B track, and it transitions to rain all the way up in the Charlotte and Greenville-Spartanburg area. I would argue that's a line of thunderstorms down in the southern areas. Not to ignore folks in the northeast. This would be a major winter storm for you. The GFS is totally different. Blue is snow, pink is freezing rain, sleet is in orange, and it's just a flatter, longer duration event that more heavily affects the southern tier of the country. To me, these look like two outliers, meaning the Euro feels like the extreme northern solution, and the GFS is probably too flat and southern. What's going to be the happy medium between all this? We're about to find out, and we're running out of time to figure it out. What about snowfall totals? The latest Euro extends all the way out to Tuesday afternoon and has the main axis of snow all the way up into the Midwest, extending into the Ohio Valley areas, the Mid-Atlantic, and hitting everybody in the Northeast with substantial snow. The GFS is much further south and has this axis of snow and sleet stretching from Arkansas through a good chunk of Tennessee and Kentucky. The bullseye is where Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia all come together with over 1.5 feet of snow. There's a secondary bullseye around Blacksburg, and then it hits the Mid-Atlantic corridor extending all the way up into southern New England. What does the National Weather Service forecast show? Remember, it only extends out to Saturday evening. The Euro doesn't have much snow at all for Tennessee, right? The GFS does. The National Weather Service is forecasting accumulating snow and sleet for Nashville and Memphis. 3 to 5 inches of snow. It's already bringing accumulating snow across the entire northern half of Tennessee, even northern areas of Mississippi. This is just the beginning of the event. You can see a front end thumping into western areas of Virginia, southern areas of West Virginia, and even some accumulating snow into northeast Georgia and the upstate of South Carolina. That's interesting, but this could easily shift northward. This is just the first wave of forecasted amounts from the National Weather Service. The ice forecast, same thing, only extends out to Saturday evening. This ice storm is just getting started at this point. Don't think you're only going to receive 1/10 of an inch of ice. It's probably going to be considerably more, but you can already see ice totals ramping up for northern areas of Alabama and southern areas of Tennessee. You can see it already advancing across southwestern North Carolina,